Hey there and welcome to the first of two videos all about how to sell in a pandemic. This first video is going to talk all about if you should be selling, and spoiler alert, video 2 will be talking all about how you should do that. So stick around and join me on this episode to find out, should you be selling? There's no point sugarcoating it. Things have changed and we need to change with it if we're going to continue to be successful. So I want to answer some of the key questions that you might have right now about whether you should or shouldn't be selling. And if you are selling, how exactly you should be doing that. So let's get straight to it. The first thing I think a lot of people are worried about is if they should still be selling. Now, I have two thoughts about this. And I think that the first thing is that you need to think about if your product or service is still solving a problem, if it's still answering a need. Now, if it is, and if that problem is still live, then you should definitely still be selling. So for most businesses, that's still true. The problem they're solving still exists. So that leaves us with the second issue, which is, okay, but should we really still be selling? You know, things aren't that great. Do people really want to hear from us right now? What I want to say is it's all about your own values and integrity. And as a start of a 10, if you're even having that conversation with yourself, then probably it's totally fine to sell, because actually you're already weighing up if it's the right thing to do. If you look out there right now, there are examples of businesses who've already taken that decision. The way that businesses are behaving right now is going to really impact whether we choose to buy from them, not just now, but also in the future. And we've had some amazing examples of that actually coming out in the press. We've got the example of one business who retails sports goods, actually staying open in the face of real public criticism and against what their actual staff are saying. In the end, the government actually stepped in and made that business shut the doors. But that's left us with a view on the values and integrity of that organisation. And in fact, the key shareholder ended up having to come out with a full apology out of that. Is that going to change your buying behaviour with that business in the future? We've also had examples of another retailer, and what's come out in talking about their response to this situation has been very much all the over and above things they do every single day for their employees. They look after them, they give them bonuses, they have regular lotteries, they have holiday homes for staff to go to. And in fact, they are much loved and respected by their employees. And now, I would have said, you would be much more likely to go and shop with them purely because you know how well they're treating their staff. So think about your own values and integrity. How you behave right now is going to reflect upon you, both now and in the future. So if you're going to sell, that's totally fine. Let's make sure that you do it properly and in a way that not only makes people want to buy with you now, but actually ensures that they think of you warmly when thinking about this period in the future. So the way that you are treating your suppliers and your customers, and in fact everybody you're dealing with as a business right now, is really important. And that's definitely something to think about. So straight up, if you're having any problems with, paying suppliers or anything like that, I would absolutely be going and having those conversations right now, proactively and upfront, because they'll remember that. If you need to talk to your customers because you can no longer deliver the service they're looking for, or you need to do it in a different way, then you need to have those conversations. Don't hide from them. Lack of communication and poor communication is what's really impacting your reputation at this point in time. And remember, if you've got a bad reputation, people won't buy off you now and they won't buy off you tomorrow. So this is your opportunity to ensure that you do the very best that you can to preserve not only your own values and integrity, but also the reputation of your business. So the first thing is that if the problem that you're solving still exists, then actually it's fine to sell, as long as you do it in a way that sits well with your reputation and your own values. So let's actually move on now and look at what it is that you might be selling. So loads of people are talking about pivoting now. In fact, you can't get away from it. It's like that scene from Friends, isn't it? Pivot, pivot, pivot. I've got to pivot my business. Right, I want to start and say, do you really need to pivot? Because actually, when you come right down to it, there's two different things that are going on right now. One is the problem that you solve already exists. Tick, we've dealt with that. The second thing is that you still have a solution for that. Tick. The third thing might be that you need to change your delivery mechanism. And I think we need to be really clear about this, because actually pivoting your business is about changing what you offer. It's about maybe, flexing your expertise in a different direction. My view is that actually really quite often people don't need to pivot. They don't need to think about that. You just need to keep doing exactly what you're doing. You just need a different delivery mechanism. And you need to get really clear on that, because actually that's really helpful both for you, your prospects, and your customers. It makes it so much easier to explain. I can still deliver XYZ the same way as I always had. Only difference, Mr. Customer, is I'm delivering it on Zoom, or I'm delivering it on Teams, or I'm delivering it on any one of these other platforms. Slight change in the delivery. The content's the same, the outcome's the same, the price is the same. So you might want to think about that. Do you actually need to pivot, or do you really just need to change your delivery mechanism? Because that's a much easier message to sell. It might be though that what you do doesn't lend itself to just a delivery mechanism change. That's totally fine. In that case, you're going to have to make a pivot. You're going to have to flex your skills. And this is where I would really recommend that you start by going out there and have some conversations. What do I mean by that? Well, look, go and talk to some of your existing or previous customers and say, look, you know what? You know the situation right now. I can't deliver what I normally deliver. What are your thoughts, and where do you see that I could add value right now? You could do some mini research piece, but I would absolutely recommend picking up the phone around this. The reason for that is that you'll get so much more detail. And we've all got those customers who love us and will sit and have those conversations with us and be very honest. So go out and ask, what do they think? That's also really helpful, because quite often you'll be surprised by the responses. You'll also be surprised about the number of people who want to buy into that new solution without you even asking, because actually now they've been part of the team who's coming up with that solution. So go out and ask your customers. So now you've worked out that you can still sell, hit the subscribe button and remember to ding the bell so you get the notification when part 2 goes live, where I'll be talking to you all about how you can continue to sell. And until then, remember to be sales-tastic.